Welcome to Insights from Elsewhere. My name is Cynthia Portugal. I'm Brazilian and I live in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'm the growth director at Insight Platforms. We are an online media business that helps researchers find new tools, learn how to use them, and see what's coming next in the insights industry. We host a directory, we run conferences, and create content for insights professionals, like this podcast. We created this podcast to go beyond the big markets of North America and Western Europe. We want to dig deeper and talk to inside professionals from Latam, Asia, Africa, and elsewhere to find out how they are doing research, their experiences with research technology, how they influence back their headquarters with the local nuances that change their strategies, and we will also learn some curiosities about those regions. Today, I have the honor to talk to Urpi Torrado from Peru, my neighbor here in Latin America, and she is the CEO for Datum International and the Latam Ambassador for ESOMAR. She's also the president for WAPOR Latam. She has more than 30 years of experience in marketing, innovation, and of course, market research. And she is a value contributor to a lot of publications in the region about the human behavior. And she's also a co-author of the book Familias Peruanas, Más Familias do que não imaginas. So let's hear from Urpi. Welcome to the podcast, Urpi.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Okay, so how did you get into market research?
By accident, I was studying at university and my family needed help. Datum is a family business. So at that time in Peru, it was time of hyperinflation and terrorism. So it was a tough moment for the country and for the company. I started doing interviews to just help my family. But then I helped with coding, training interviewers. So I got more and more involved until I noticed that I was in love with market research.
That's amazing. I think no one actually knows they love market research until they accidentally go through it, right?
And it's amazing because you work for so many topics, different clients and markets, and it's you never stop learning. It's amazing what you do in market research.
After those interviews, what else do you do? And tell us a bit about your career and your accomplishments in the area.
Uh, I the thing is that I started doing interviews, so I went through all these stages of market research. That is important. That was important for me because since I went through the different areas of the company, I learned really how this works, and I can participate in all sorts of discussions with clients and try to help them understand what they need or what type of methodology it's better for them. I started from doing interviews, but got all the way to, and now I am the CEO of the company. And as CEO, I am involved in so many initiatives and discussions to better understand the market or the different problems that our clients have.
Amazing. And what's unique about the market research landscape in Peru and Latin America?
It is in Peru, but also in Latam. What I can tell is that there is a still high percentage of face-to-face interview research. So people in this region like to express their opinions and value human interaction. The face-to-face methodologies work better than, for example, online or telephone research. So also clients value a lot this sort of method, especially when they are looking for strategic or high-stake studies. They really, there is something very tactical, maybe online works for them, but when they are looking for long-term decisions or more strategic ones, face-to-face is preferred by clients, and also the response rate is very high in terms of the population. We can still carry out a lot of face-to-face interviews or focus groups, so face-to-face works very well in this region.
See. And what do these global clients or global researchers they get wrong in when doing research or doing business in Peru? What they often misunderstand about the region?
One of the biggest misconceptions is to think that Latin America as a single homogeneous market. We share a language in many countries, of course, Brazil not, but in many countries we all speak Spanish. But cultures and consumer behavior are different. Levels of digital adoption also is different from country to country. So even the way that people build trust are very different from one country to another. So what works in Mexico, for example, may not work in Peru, Colombia, or Argentina. So for me, that is the biggest misconception, misunderstanding of the region. Thinking of it as a single homogeneous market. It is not. It is very complicated and with local, country by country behaviors and context, cultural context.
Do you have any good story that you can share with us?
Yeah, it's difficult because they are very particular to a client. But yes, of course, sometimes I've gone to present the results to a client, and they have already taken the decision. They were doing the study just to complete the process, or it's part of their job description. You have to, before launching a product, you have to do this research, but they already have worked with all the launching and all the decisions were already made. And when they got the research, the results were not in line of what they were thinking, because again, they were thinking that whole market was, or that Peru was the same as Mexico, for example. They tend to think that we're very similar because our history is not the same, but both were strong cultures before the Spanish came, and then we both were the capital of part of the colony. So all the history that we share makes the client think that we're pretty much the same, but we're not. We have many differences. What I have seen is that they come with a decision, they already have all these decisions taken, and then when they get the research, they get surprised with the results because they are not in line with what they were thinking, and they have to rethink all that was already planned.
Remember back like long ago, and people would think that if you have advertising in Spanish, you could use the same advertising from Mexico down to Argentina and all the region. Just Brazil would need another version. But in the end of the day, some advertisings they didn't work like in Mexico and Colombia and Peru and Argentina, and you have to take into account how people look like, what kind of Spanish they speak, because it is Spanish, but not exactly the same, right?
No, there are specific words that have a meaning, a different meaning from country to country. Word can change the whole understanding of the advertising.
Yes. And as a representative of ESOMAR and WAPOR, you tailor a lot of events in the region, so you put them together. What kind of content do you feel resonates with the Latam region?
As ESOMAR, we have an annual conference. Next year will be in Buenos Aires. We just had our conference in Rio this year. And also we have local events throughout the year. We're very active with organizing events. And also WAPOR Latam has a congress every 2 years, and the next one will be in Lima, in Peru, next year. So I am very excited about that. And about the content, people in Latam are eager to learn, especially about practical applications that they can implement immediately. Topics such as AI, synthetic data quality, and how to combine technology with human expertise generate a lot of interest. I also try to build bridges between Latin America and the rest of the world so that innovation flows both directions. We have a lot to learn here, but we also have a lot to share and contribute in the global discussion.
Do you have any examples of what kind of influence do you have and do you make in these global forums?
Yes, we're all the time looking new methodologies developed in the region or studies, successful studies that people in the different countries in the region have so that they can share globally. This is quite important because the level of market research in Latin America is very high. What I have seen, there are many cases that the quality of the research has nothing to envy to big research in Europe or in the US. So, but people sometimes is shy and don't think that what they are doing is good enough, so they don't share it. So part of my job as Latam Ambassador of ESOMAR or President of WAPOR Latam is to find those projects, those researches, and try to bring them to the global community. So as I told you, this is both ways. I am taking Latin America to the rest of the world, highlight Latin America in the map, and also I am bringing new presentations or successful studies that can also inspire local researchers for new studies or new projects that can be developed in Latin America.
Yeah, I really liked your presentation at the ESOMAR in Rio with Adriana Rocha from Warcha and the synthetic users. It was really, really good.
That was something that I enjoyed a lot because I saw Adriana in a global conference and we were, just talking because we're friends for a long time. We have been friends for a long time. And suddenly we thought, we can develop something with what I am doing in Peru. I have been working with this topic related to families. We have a book, and we are updating the book. We're preparing a new edition of the book with updated data. So I mentioned that, and she has all this new technology that she's developing related to synthetic data. So we thought, let's do something together and try to contribute to the discussion in Latin America. Because when you talk about AI and synthetic data, there is a lot of things that are worth trying and adopting in your companies, but there are also things that are just, yes, a hype, something of the moment, but doesn't have future. But if you don't try, if you don't do the experiments and all that, you can take a decision, you can advise your clients on what is worth trying or not.
Yeah, that's true. Can you tell me a bit about this book, about the familias, and what was the first one and what you are building towards in the next book?
Yes, the problem with the families is that most advertising is focused on the stereotype of the traditional family, mom, dad, and kids. But that is not the reality anymore, not in the world and not in Latin America. From the official data from the census, we divided the different types of family, and we found that there are 11 types of families. So if you want to talk to a family, you have to understand how they are composed, but not only how they are composed. You have to talk or discuss with them how decisions are taken, what is the power structure, or how is power or decision making is configured in the family. We work with the census data, but also with ethnographies, with in-depth interviews, and all that help us to understand how the dynamic of each family is. And with that information is information that we use to build twins, digital twins, and compare how decisions are taken between real humans and the twins.
Oh, amazing. I'm looking forward to reading that. And now, thinking about the research agencies and the players in the region, what do you think the players that are standing out and doing it best are doing differently now with the technology and everything that is around?
What they believe is that the important thing is that this is a moment of transformation of market research. So the ones that are doing or that are shining at this moment is the ones that are innovating, that are trying new technologies, and are in this process of trying to give more value to the clients. So the main thing is to give value. And technology, of course, is a tool that will help us with new developments to be more agile, to give more values. What is important is to not to freeze with what is going on or to wait until this industry transform. You have to be the first one, the one that comes first with a new methodology or with a new technology will gain the market. So for me, in this moment, what is important is that to stay relevant, to continue innovating, bringing value to clients.
When I worked at Unilever, like long time ago, and every time we were proposing a new methodology or a new type of project or something different, there was this time to get approvals and sign-offs and everything. And as researchers, I think we like to know what we are doing and what are the trade-offs and what are the possible pitfalls. So we took so long sometimes analyzing and evaluating methodologies that, and when we decided not to test, or when we tested it sometimes we were like, okay, it's not what we are expecting, because when we go live, it's different from what you learn from watching a demo or doing something. And I have this feeling that with AI and technology, we can do this, like ask and try to evaluate all the risks and what are the dangers that may come. But if you spend so much time evaluating, you end up being left behind at some point. So you can try and use your expertise maybe to understand, and when you have the previous expertise, the offline expertise, I think you can judge better if things are really worth it, if it's not.
Yes, it's important to test all these methodologies. Of course, some clients are very slow adopting all these new methodologies. But I think they are now more open than before when you work in Unilever. Now there was, as part of the ESOMAR Latam conference, there is a meeting between only clients. They meet in a private room, and it is moderated by one client. So they discuss their challenges, they discuss what is going on in the industry, the trends, they give advice to each other. And after that, their main conclusions, they present them as part of the conference, at the end of the conference. It was last year when the conference was in Peru that they said that they are, as clients, they are willing to innovate, to try new technologies. And I asked them, okay, you say that you want to try, but my experience is that sometimes when you come with a new technology, they have a lot of concerns and fears that makes it very slow for adopting them, or maybe they don't want to pay for them, because we assume that technology makes research cheaper, but technology itself is not cheap. So it's quite difficult for clients to understand that. But what they said is, at the end, they understand all these challenges that we're facing, and they want them they want us to see them as partners, and that if we have a new technology or a new methodology or a new idea, look for them and maybe discuss them, and let's see how far we can get with that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think it was yesterday I was reading in this forum that I'm part of the MRX Punks, and people were talking about a lot of layoffs in the market research sector, especially in client side in Europe and United States, everywhere. What are the challenges for insight professionals in Peru and in Latin America?
I think to remain relevant, to keep up with technological change, because
Yeah.
you're adopting a new technology and then comes something new. So to keep up with change is difficult. And also demonstrate the value of insights, the value that it brings to business decisions. So the challenge is not competing with AI, but learning how to combine AI with human judgment and cultural understanding.
Do you see this kind of movements too, like teams shrinking and pressure, like budget pressure and stuff in the region, or we are still not there yet?
Oh, difficult to say. I think that maybe it's different from in terms of the market research companies. I think that the small ones are not shrinking; they are pretty much the same. Maybe big companies, the big players in the markets, they are reducing a little bit because not only because of technology, but also the synergies that they have with their global headquarters.
Yeah.
In terms of clients, they are not shrinking. They are the teams are keeping the. We have done a research. It was not for market research, but for the marketing areas of the companies to understand if the impact of AI in the marketing teams. And I think we can from that we can also it might be very similar for market research. And what we found in this study is that many companies are experimenting with AI. They are training their teams. They are not shrinking, but they are in the process of understanding how AI can help their marketing teams. That maybe what they gain from AI is that they now produce more marketing pieces or content. So it's that they have multiplied their capacity, but they are not reducing their teams.
That's amazing. And thinking about research technology and tools, you talked about digital twins, but what's been your experience with research technology in Peru?
I have tried different platforms and with very good results. Not all my clients are adopting these tools, but they're on the way. One of my favorites is If. I don't know if you know it. If is an AI moderator with results in real time. So it is amazing because you don't prepare a questionnaire. You give her the context, what is what you want, the objective, what is what you want to understand, and then you will find a sample and send them a link, and it starts with the conversation. And it's amazing the type of questions that If builds and how the results are immediately coded and presented in real time.
Doing a traditional call, it would take like at least 2 weeks or maybe a month to get results. So it's amazing to have them right away.
And it combines the qualitative analysis and have mind maps and have all verbatims, qualitative analysis, but also quantitative. So if the sample is big, you can have charts and graphs related to the responses. So it's quite interesting.
Good. And what about challenges? Did you have any challenges when trying to use research technology?
As I said before, cost, I think, is one of the main barriers. Many clients are not willing to pay more, while research technology remains relatively expensive for our region because maybe that cost for another market, Europe or the US, is not expensive, but for our market, the cost of technology is high. So that's one challenge. And the other is the learning curve. So companies have to invest not only in the tool, but also in training their people. At the end, that is part of the investment that a company has to make, and not necessarily all clients value that.
I see, like it's like they want to implement it, but they are not willing to get this curve of knowledge going up, right? And thinking about AI, new trends, new tools, and like every day we have a new thing in AI, it's very, very difficult to keep up. So, what do you think has real value? And what do you think is more of a hype? It's like cool, but doesn't add value in your daily work.
I see great value in tasks such as coding, transcription, summarization, and preparing first drafts. These are repetitive activities that consume a lot of time, and not everybody in the company wants to do these activities. So AI makes faster and more efficient. So this allows researchers to spend more time on what really adds value, that is asking the right questions, interpreting results, and the cultural context.
Amazing. And how do you see the future of insights in Peru?
The future with many challenges, but still relevant. Market research brings the light and helps companies and societies to make better decisions. Strategic thinking and cultural context is something that can be replaced by AI.
It's true. What's your favorite research methodology? Can be anything.
Ethnographies. I like ethnographies because you are in touch with the people and it's not so structured, so you get really to learn from them.
You know, when I worked in like different countries in the region, I really love to do like ethnographies, go to their houses and just see them doing things or cooking or showing their routine. You can learn so much about people, not consumers, but people in general and what moves them. And you can understand differences between how it is in Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, Peru. You can understand, I think with ethnographies, we can understand it much better because you can see and bring to life those things, right?
Yes, of course, and people is not as structured and or predictable as you think they are. So being with them and understanding how they live, how they work, how they consume whatever you want to study, whatever category you want to study, is quite important. If you don't have this feeling or this state of how your consumer, your client is behaving, and not specifically to your product or your category. It's understanding all the context on how the decisions are made at home, how they work, how they live, how they think, how they dream. It's important because that will condition or that will be the frame for any decisions that they make.
Yeah. What is the coolest trend or innovation in our industry for you?
Maybe AI as a research assistant, no? Not replacing researchers,
Well,
but helping us work faster and better.
yes. Now, one piece of advice for a newcomer in the area of insights, someone who's starting to work in insights today, what would you tell this person? What piece of advice?
Never stop being curious. Technology will change, but curiosity, critical thinking, and empathy will always make a great researcher.
Urpi, it was a pleasure to talk to you and learn more about Peru and the region. And you are doing an amazing work getting the Latam region outside of the box because, as you said, we tend to think we are not good enough. Our cases are not good enough. So thank you so much for taking the underdogs, if you can say like this, into the world. I really appreciate it. And I think it's really good work. And it was a pleasure to understand more about the culture and the influences and about your experience with these new tools with the eyes of an experienced researcher, which is also really good. So thank you for being part of our podcast.
And thank you, Cynthia. It was my pleasure.
Okay. So today we talked to Urpi Torrado from Peru, and she talked about the region and the amazing things she's doing abroad. So thanks, Urpi. Thanks everyone listening to the Insights from Elsewhere podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes. And if you have someone to recommend to be interviewed, send us also this contact. We're looking to people from Latam, Asia, Africa, and beyond to understand the state of insights there. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode.